Hello, Shiggy. Thank you so
Hi.
much for joining us today. I really, really appreciate it, and I'm so looking forward to hearing about your journey and your adventures. Tell me something. How did you actually get into the security industry?
Sure. So thank you for having me. It's been an interesting journey getting here, both on a personal level between you and me. But yeah, with security and stuff, it actually started in university, and I'm also aware I look like a green-eyed alien with my glasses, but I'm not taking them off. So if anyone's watching this, you can just deal with it. Okay, I have a light behind my camera, and it's happening. Enjoy the experience. Get distracted. So back to university. This is kind of like 2004 or
Yeah.
so. I was 21, 22 or something. And I was working to be a sound engineer. I got a job at the university's nightclub. So I was already a sound engineer, senior sound engineer there. And then I became the event supervisor as well. So I was still setting up things, but then just overall looking
Yeah.
after, visiting musicians and artists and stuff like that. That's kind of what my job was. So when setting up would be finished, I would always go to the front door and just hang out with the security guys and stuff. Like
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
no interest in any of that. It was more just to like hang out with friends and see my friends come in and stuff because I'm just like bored. But also because I played sports, I would always try to keep an eye out for like the sports team, especially the hockey team because that's who I played with. And if anyone was too paralytically drunk, I'd be like, go sober up. And if we're of a specific age, that would be code for go do a technical or tactical chunder somewhere and then come back. And we all know this is a thing. I'm pretty sure kids nowadays probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but verily like in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, that was a thing that we did.
Yeah.
So that was all I would do, and then sometimes there'd be disagreements that would happen at the front door, and I would get involved because I just have a mouth. I don't know how to shut up. I'm not going to stand there and let people be stupid
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
to my friends. And a lot of the times I would be like the pacifist. I would calm people down, and I'd just be like,
Yeah.
look, it's not worth it. Just go home, come back tomorrow, or go home, come back in a couple of hours, and I will be here. Come find me, and whatever. And the door guys were just like, have you thought about doing security? And I'm just like, not really. Like,
Yeah.
you just beat people up. They're like, no. Like, and I'm just like, come on, let's be honest. They're like, no, have you seen us beat anyone up? I'm like, no, to be fair, I've seen the rugby team beat each other up more than I've seen you guys do anything. So it's like, yeah, you should join.
That's all.
So 2004, this is in the UK as well.
Yeah.
2004, I think everything, it was just having just a little license. It wasn't anything
Yes.
too
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
hugely official. Like if you could talk and you were of a specific kind of like stature, you'd basically just be able to work as a bouncer. It was very much a kind of not unregulated, but not as
Yeah.
how we know it now kind of
Yeah.
thing. So uni kind of came and went, and I kind of like not dropped out. I just left the
Yeah.
the degree I was doing because I already had the job. I'm like, why do I need to go into student debt when I'm already, a sound engineer? Like, I got the job. I don't need the degree. So I dropped out
I agree.
of it. Yeah, and I moved on to something else. But in that time, the SIA started coming
Yeah.
into fruition, and this is the same time as I believe cigarette smoking was being banned in indoor venues. I
Oh,
think they were
okay.
like,
No, I've not.
yeah,
I've not. Yeah.
because in a nightclub, like everyone's smoking on the dance floor and everything. We didn't even need a smoke machine, And then all of a sudden, like people were not smoking inside, and then all of a sudden we had to tell people to wear deodorant and get smoke machines. So for me as a sound engineer, the crossover between those two kind of industries, it was just quite interesting. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, people actually do smell because they're dancing quite hard. So the SIA thing started coming in, and I think it was because the studying and the exams actually happened in the nightclub that I was working at uni at the time. So this was out in Uxbridge.
Okay.
I would let the guys in and we would talk and chill out and everything. And they're just like, just do the exam. It's so easy.
Yeah.
Like you're smart. Half of us are really stupid. So like, come on, if we're passing, like, you don't even need to study for it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
thanks, but like you guys are, you're pretty cool. They said, yeah, we are cool. We just didn't say we're smart. So I
Actually, a lot of
think
them are smart, aren't they?
they
A lot of
really
them are
are.
very, very
They
smart.
really
I'm going to
are.
say the majority are.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's not, it's the difference between academic smarts is just parroting, right?
yeah,
To a
yeah,
the basic level of academic. I'm not going to piss people off here. The
yeah,
basic level of academia is a
yeah,
case of can you remember something and recite it?
yeah,
Yes. And
yeah,
then you have street smarts, which a lot of us in this industry are like we are scholars
yeah,
of like
amazing.
verbal judo, spatial awareness, body language, all that kind of jazz. So yeah, they were just being silly. So I got my SIA license and my all the other licensing. Basically, I could open a pub if I wanted to. That's how far I got with all of this.
Okay,
So my public license and all those things, for
amazing.
beverages and
Yeah.
stuff. I think I first started doing security officially in 2008.
Wow,
Unofficially
okay.
before that, but we won't talk about that. But like officially, uh, it was still a gray area because do you remember? I don't know. Like we kind of were at the same time when we started. When they first tried rolling out the licenses, I think there was a backlog of like 15 months because every single security person had to be SIA registered.
Yeah,
So as a result, like everyone was sending in their application forms, doing their
yes,
DBS
yeah,
checks and all of that, or CRB it was at the time. So it was just like, like you got
yeah,
your letter and we're just like, well, we can't stop working. We need to carry on working. Like you did this. So it took a while. But yeah, 2008 is when I officially started, and then my first like kind of official gig was at Wembley Stadium as a
oh, yeah.
steward. So
Wow,
yeah.
that is cool. Yeah.
Um, Go
What,
on.
what did you so you started there. What places have you worked?
Yeah, so Wembley Stadium was kind of like, it's not a full-time job unless you're like, you're downstairs in the main kind of like staff type of thing.
Yeah.
So I was one of the companies that were right up in the nosebleed section, so level 5, and then eventually level 2, but level 5. Dude, breaking up fights at the top level, I'm like, if you guys got vertigo and you're trying to break up
Oh
like
yeah.
West Ham versus, I don't know, Manchester City, like heaven help you.
Yeah.
But that's a
See.
story for later.
Yeah.
So Wembley was my main area, and then I kind of dotted around London, just with companies. As a DJ, I was a DJ as well at the time. I was a DJ first, then security second. And then with my sound engineer work, I'd just be around lots of nightclubs, various places
Yeah.
up in King's Cross, some places around Liverpool Street where all the little private venues are. I did Hackney a little bit. I think Dalston Junction I did for a very brief period and left. But I think Kingston upon Thames was kind of the main area that I was in.
Yeah.
And there was a mega nightclub. I think it's still there, but now it's got a third name. It used to be called, I think, Oceana's, and then changed to the word Prism, the shape,
Okay.
not the place.
Yeah.
So I teamed up I joined a company there, which was probably the best team I worked with, because I was at a different one at Wembley and then this one down in Kingston upon Thames. And that was a regular Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights is basically what I did there. And we did various positions,
Yeah.
static,
Yeah.
snatch, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah.
And then I would be hired out for private club events around the
Yeah.
UK as well,
Yeah.
for various like big level kind of
Yeah.
dance nights and alternative dance nights. So
How did you feel about when you're carrying out these sort of like security duties and everything? Did you
ah
have a lot of experience of having to deal with difficult situations and um, what was
yeah
it like?
yeah. So I think the amount of time I spent in the uni nightclub, just from a kind of like I guess soft skills, right? So because I didn't have the thought of restraining and all that kind of jazz and all the kind of rules you had to hold onto for that side of things, I didn't have that. All I was focusing on was like developing my soft skills of just talking to people, dealing with altercations. And then if it gets too hard, like, the whole kind of like, well, you can talk to me and we can leave together, and I look like a potato. I don't, I'm not even wearing a security badge or anything. So walking out with me looks pretty chill versus walking out with lug nuts over there, like Martin, who's as big as a freight ship container thing, right? Having him taking you out is going to cause a scene. So do you want to be chill or do you want to cause a scene? And, using that kind of like mental judo is something I developed at uni. So I think that aspect of it was something that was very, very natural to me. So I didn't really need to do much with it. And the people that I worked with actually recognized that. So with Wembley Stadium, I started off as a steward, but I moved from front ring, so the ring of the seating area, like, where usually people are at the bottom there. So I started there, and, I'd de-escalate fights and, dads trying to like fight other dads on the other side of the arena and stuff. That's the main thing. I moved from that into like in elevators because I was quite nice and pleasant. So like, having pleasant people in the elevators is important. When the fights would break out or the snatch team would bring a fight in there, I would help them, even though like, I wasn't formally trained in that, but I have a background in martial arts, which I've done since I was 6 years old. And then I became a supervisor. So I became a quadrant supervisor. So literally like that took, I think that was 3.5 months. I went from steward to supervisor. Nice. And I just did all the courses. They're like, oh, we've got a course for blah, blah. Do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, sure. I just everything. Same with the nightclub. I started off on static, but then they realized like, oh, she's actually good at talking to people. She's good at recognizing body language. And she's actually like, she might not have a lot of skills with restraining and stuff, but she will put hands on people safely if needs be. And she will lift people out of toilets. And I've done that a lot. When they're paralytic and they're like, calling God on a big white telephone, then you're just like, come on, you gotta go. So people picked up on my skill set before I realized what my skill set was.
Which is great, that de-escalation, etc. So can you think of any times where there has been conflict, either inside or outside, where you've had to, being a door supervisor or a security guard doesn't stop, you do your duty, but when you're out and about, are there any instances in your career where you've had to deal with difficult things?
So you actually reminded me, or some memory popped up in my head as we were talking. Another place that is kind of key in like the security background that I've done, I also worked at City Hall. I did security at City Hall as well. So during when was I working? It was during Boris Johnson's time. So there was a couple of things there. I think the first one was the Occupy kind of situation that happened, and it was I think they mainly were focusing at St. Paul's Church Cathedral area. They were trying to do the whole Occupy thing there, and there was a little bit of bleed through that will come over the Millennium Bridge and will come over from the other side where people were just trying to find other places to occupy, and obviously London City Hall is one of them. But just to put that in there in case a story pops up from there. But to backtrack, so with the security stuff, like you say, like, you never really switch off. It's nice to kind of leave work as you've left a venue, but a lot of people, I don't know about now, but once upon a time, a lot of people got into this work because we enjoy seeing people having a good time. And we enjoy ensuring spaces are safe, and we enjoy being a good actor in a space where bad players could potentially arise.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
So and for a lot of us, that doesn't stop once we've left work. Like, if you're smart, especially if you're in a nightclub, you will change out of your work clothes, which is usually a suit, which advertises, like, black suit,
Yeah,
white
yeah,
shirt, the cheap thing that you get from Primark, because it's probably going to get ripped at work, so
yeah.
you don't spend money. But you change out of that, because you don't want to become a target. You don't want, people who have been kicked out by you, if they don't remember what you look like, but all they remember is it was some black person in a suit. There's not going to be many of us out there, so you don't want to put a target on your back, right? Especially not at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, maybe during the day it'll be safer to wear a suit, kind of like if you've kicked someone out, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, less so.
Yeah.
So one time with me personally, weirdly enough, it was after I was DJing. So this was in Vauxhall, because I lived in Wandsworth at the time, and I just like getting the night bus sometimes. So I finished DJing at about 4:30 in the morning. And I hung about for a bit, but then I was just like, I just need to go home. And it was only 2 buses an hour. So I think it was 27 past and 37 past the hour from the main Vauxhall station.
Okay, yeah.
So I went to the bus stop. I went there, I waited, and I looked up. I'm like, oh, cool. The top is empty. Not my area, but the top is empty, and the back is empty, which is strange. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Red flag number 1.
Oh, is it? I wouldn't know.
No, but so this is it was the N87, which goes from Aldwych in central London, kind of by the Royal Courts of Justice, all the way out to Tooting Broadway. So it's a long old little bus, right, which goes into South West London. So usually a lot of people in central London are kind of in the bus already. And I was just like, oh, cool, okay, the back is free. It's a little bit weird, but, whatever, it's fine. So sign in, go in, and I go upstairs, and I have my headphones on because, I don't really want to talk to anyone and get bothered.
Yeah, you've had
I look up, and there's, like, literally everyone is, like, squished in the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 seats. So it's, like, 12 people, all, like, compressed up at the front. I'm looking at the back of the bus, and I see there's like 3 people. One white guy in the back right corner is just very chill, which is weird. Another person who's just like looking quite irate. Remember, I have headphones on, so I don't actually know what's going on. Yeah. And then another black guy, kind of like about 2 seats up on the left-hand side, trying to be chill, but just like looking back. And I'm just like, this looks strange. But
right.
yeah, but I'm not going to pay attention. So I sit, kind of like not with the front group of people. I sit a little bit further back, and I sit down, and like someone next to me is now looking behind, and I'm like, do I want to get involved? Like that's the first question, right? It's like, do I want to get involved? And I'm just like, I'll just, if it sounds dramatic, then maybe I'll turn around. So I lift my headphone up, and I'm hearing just like, why won't any of you help me? Is it because I'm gay? Da 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 da. And then literally the guy sounds queerer than Christmas. Like he literally, and he sounded like he was genuinely distressed. And I'm just okay, well, that's not right. So I stopped my music, took my headphones out, put them in my bag, closed my bag up, put my padlock on my bag. Because I'm like, if I leave my bag for a second, it was a very heavy DJ bag. So I didn't think anyone's going to steal it, but I just didn't want anyone to opportunistically steal anything. So I put my padlock down, and I turn around, and I'm just looking. And now the gay guy sees me. He's just like, why aren't you helping? I'm just like, shh, give me a minute. Like I need to make sure I'm not about to get stabbed. Like that's literally what I was doing. I was looking at the whole situation. And then the black guy, he sees me, and then he turns around and he like starts shouting like really homophobic abuse to this guy. And I'm like, oh, bro, I'm not your friend. I'm queer. Like I'm not going to protect you. I'm going to protect him.
Yeah.
And this other white guy's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's just like, he just tilted his head up. I'm like, okay, I understand. So he doesn't want to get involved, but he's like, if someone does something, then he will, help.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what that head tilt meant,
Yeah.
So the gay guy is just like shouting or whatever, and then this other guy just like starts turning around. He's like, you're a sin. You shouldn't exist. You're an abomination. I'm like, we need to stop with that. And he is wearing the tightest pinstripe suit ever. So I know he doesn't have a knife in his pocket.
Okay, good.
Because they're too tight. That's why I'm saying this, right? She's like, where is she going with this? I'm like, no. This is what I was looking at. I was like trying to see if he doesn't have anything in his pants, cool. And then some people are going to understand this. Usually if someone wants to attack you, they'll just start like tapping where their weapon is.
Oh wow. Okay.
You know, I don't know if you knew
No,
that.
no,
That's
no. I mean, I've been in the security industry for 20 years, but not as a frontline person. So I'm,
yes.
yeah.
You deal with like that the after work, like once we've gotten into trouble at work, and then
Yes,
you're
and
just like, what have
I'll
you
look at how
done?
the investigation went on and who, if people are okay, and officers'
Yeah,
welfare, and make sure
gotcha.
that those things are being dealt with properly. But please do carry on.
Good. Well, I mean, after this thing, I probably would have needed it. But so
Yeah.
the bus was going. By the way, the bus driver downstairs just had no idea that any of this was
Kept
going on.
going. Right.
So
Yeah.
we were driving. No
Yeah.
one had said anything. Everyone at the front was just minding their p's and q's, not turning around, pretending
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
world in the back of the bus didn't exist, which
Yeah.
is crazy to me.
Yeah.
So he's shouting at this guy and he's getting closer to him. And, the gay guy's just like, don't get close to me. Stop coming close to me, which is,
Yeah. Yeah.
a fair
Of
thing to
course it's
say.
gonna be.
And he's putting his hands up, in a
Yeah.
very gay way, just kind of like, just stop it, just stay away from
Yeah.
me. And this other guy's getting in his face, clearly drunk,
Yeah.
and it reaches a point where, like, the gentleman in the suit turns around and like he literally balls his hands up into a fist, and that's when the other white guy goes over and says, like, you need to stop doing that. And that's where I'm just like, okay, this guy doesn't have a knife, so I get behind him and I hold his shoulders. He's huge, by the way. I'm 5'6". Okay, in the grand scheme of things, I'm like a large midget. So compared to other
I'm
people,
5'3", so
okay, so both everyone's sub. I mean, 5'6". I'm no longer in that club, but like sub 5'5", for you to go after someone who's 6'2".
yeah, crazy. Absolutely
You're climbing
crazy.
a tree, and I
Yeah,
was on
yeah,
I was
yeah.
on the seats. I didn't care. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I do first and think later. So he was like leaning against him, and I'm just like pulling him, and I'm pulling him back. I'm like, mate, you need to stop, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm pulling him to my height, so he's falling backwards a little
Right.
bit, and he's drunk as well. And he's like, no, fuck that, and he pulls his elbow back,
God.
and goes forwards. But now, like, he's pulling this gay guy with him as well, and the other white guy's now stood up, and all four of us are kind of like in the aisle of this bus, doing whatever. And then thankfully now I've turned around and said, will one of you stupid MFers tell the bus driver to effing stop?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, because I'm trying to find my feet, and this whole bus is moving and stuff. I'm like, I'm gonna fall underneath this Goliath of a man. I'm gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I think the other black guy who sat next to me, he goes downstairs. He does it. I'm just like, thank you.
Yeah.
So the bus stops at another bus stop, because I knew between Vauxhall Station and the next bus stop, like, it's not that far away.
Yeah.
And, there's just like bombs being thrown, and the other guys got in front of the gay guy, and he got hit in his nose, which he just got done. Made sure everyone knew about that. Nose just got done. But thankfully not properly. Like, it was swollen, but it wasn't like no bleeding or anything.
Yeah.
But the fight got so far, like, he stopped for a second, and I got in between him and the gay guy, and then the gay guy stupidly starts trying to lash out at the guy again.
You're trying to. Oh my gosh.
And so I'm getting, like, not hit by him, so I'm getting like just hands flying over me.
That's right.
And I'm like pushing him back, just like, stop. And thankfully the other guy starts pulling him to the back of the bus. I'm just like, get rid of him.
Yeah.
But before that happens, this guy starts trying to do haymakers over me.
Oh my
and like,
gosh.
So I immediately just frame up, because by this point I've had some training with the security guys down in Kingston. So I'm framing up and everything, and I teach people this frame because it saved me from getting knocked in the head, because I got hit on the side of my ear.
Okay.
Or my hand was just protecting, because you get told not to put your hand over your ear, because if you get hit, you'll rupture your eardrum.
Oh, wow.
So my hand was just over my ear, so it was still open.
Yeah.
But I had, a full-on punch was just hit to the side of my head.
God.
But I shouldered it, which was fine. And I just started driving my elbows into him, just pushing him back, and then pushing down the stairs. I mean, he was walking down the stairs, but he was still trying to push against me. But I'm quite strong.
Oh,
So-
I've no doubt.
So he was looking at me, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, you have only one direction to go, and it's down the stairs and off this effing bus.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you're a black woman. You should understand. I'm like, no. We're not having that conversation here. If you want to have that conversation, we're doing it off the bus.
Yeah.
And by that time, an ambulance had shown up as well behind the bus, because, the driver finally saw what was going on.
Yeah.
So the guy was trying to resist, and I was just pushing him, and kicking him down. I didn't care. I'm like, my badge isn't on
he's
me,
gotta
so
get
it doesn't
off.
matter.
Yeah.
And I'm pushing him. Now other people, all of a sudden, and this is what happens, right? Now they're supporting, like, oh, let's get this off the bus. Like, okay, someone else is going to get smacked in the head, not me. So now I'm going to support this whole thing.
Yeah.
And obviously it's the black woman. So, you know, I'm pushing him off the bus, pushing him off. And, you know, I'm like, look, you're not getting back on the bus. Now the driver's come out. It's like, what's going on? I was like, did you not see there was a fight upstairs? He's like, well, I was driving. I'm like, fair play, but there was a fight upstairs. Yeah. So this other guy goes off. I'm walking him down the road, you know, past the ambulance. I'm just like, no, you need to go home. Just do something else. I don't care. He's like, I can't even remember what he was talking about now. But then eventually he just goes off. Like, he starts calling people and he's, you know, doing that. I'm like, fine. The gay guy comes down. He gets looked after by the ambulance. The ambulance is asking me what's going on. And then the other white guys come down. So now we're just doing, like, you know, a report and everything. So that, I pulled that out quite extensively, but I felt it was important that, you know, that was just me on my own. Yeah. But just a couple of little nods and just a little, like, evaluation of the situation was just like, okay, this is probably stupid what I'm about to do. Yeah. But I'm hoping someone else will help. Yeah. You know, and sure enough, the white gentleman in the back corner, you know, who also was a giant when he finally stood up, I was like, oh, you big man, you could have fixed all of this on your own, but it's always better to have more people. Yeah. So that was the solo experience. You know, the gay guy was fine and everything, and he got back on the bus.
How did that actually affect you, though?
That's a good question. I can't remember. Like, I'm trying to remember any kind of like.
Did you like get any? I mean,
there was adrenaline. Don't get me wrong. There was a huge amount of adrenaline, but it didn't affect me in the sense of as if I felt like I was being attacked, right? Because all that's coming up for me was just like there was a sense of duty that was done. Yeah. I helped someone. I don't want to think like I saved someone. But I helped someone and I did the right thing. Yeah. And that's all that's there. Like, you know, the adrenaline was there. Yes. It's the adrenaline of the fight, the dump. Like, I didn't go to sleep until I think 8:00 in the morning because the adrenaline dump was.
Were you able to, did you discuss it with anyone? Because that's the thing. It's like something like that happens and, you know, you were actually off duty at the time. So you don't have HR to go to, or your supervisor, or well, you were a supervisor as well, but you know, a manager or somebody to go to. Did you feel that you could talk about that particular instance with your colleagues, with your security colleagues?
Yeah. I mean, I called up one of my DJ friends, literally probably about like, you know, at midday the next day. And I was just like, dude, you'll never guess what happened last night. And they're like, what? Like a huge like homophobic fight broke out on the bus. Like, oh my God. So we spoke about it and, you know, like for me, it felt insane that, you know, a black person, a black man could be homophobic towards a white man. It wasn't surprising because, you know, homophobia is a thing.
Yes, it is.
But experiencing the physical violence that the LGBT community experiences all the time, you know, was insane. And that wasn't the last time, and it probably won't be the last time. Because another time I was down in Brighton, same again. This was literally 2.5 years ago whilst I was traveling through Europe. I was just meeting up with a friend. We were in Brighton, which is home for me. You know, and it's a queer space. Like, it is, you know, you don't go to Brighton to be homophobic. I mean, if you do, you're going to get kicked out very quickly. It's very stupid, you know. But another situation happened. I was just talking to my friend. We were just walking through the lanes, just, you know, having fun. I think I was taking him to my favorite comic book shop. And I hear, you know, a very camp voice behind me saying, "You are not to do that. It is not allowed. I did not give you my permission." And I'm like, what's happening here? And sure enough, two of the most fabulous gay black men I've ever seen in my life, right? And I noticed them around town. Like, we've just been like passing each other by. I'm like, oh, it's them again. And there was this other gentleman, a white man, in lycra, just head to toe bicycle lycra on his bicycle, and he was aggressively taking photos of them. And I'm like, well, that's not okay, you know. And then he like goes to like imitate as if he's going to hit them, you know, just get away from me type of thing. The white man to these two. And now a fight breaks out. And I'm like, I didn't even think, actually, to be honest. I was already walking towards them, and I'm like, hey, no, none of that. My friend is following me. He's a rugby player. Like, again, he doesn't. I've got a very specific group of people I hang around.
I was going to say, I'm noticing a pattern here.
Yes, very much so. And he wouldn't ask any questions. Like, he's Irish as well, so Irish rugby player. So he didn't even ask what's occurring or anything. He just followed me, and we went immediately straight in, split up everybody. And it was quite interesting how we both understood where we were going. He doesn't do security, by the way. But he saw where I was going, and he went in the opposite direction. So I was, you know, going to the white guy. He was going, you know, to the couple, you know, and just kind of breaking them up. And I just told the other guy, I'm just like, look, your camera got broken because you're being stupid. Like, just leave. Look where you are. What are you doing? You know, just, again, my voice of reason, just being like...
I mean, photographing in public is absolutely fine if you're just photographing. Being aggressive and doing it with an agenda behind it is a completely different thing.
Yeah, and like if you're taking a photo of somebody, you know, do it from a distance. If you've got these two,
don't be in that person's face. You're invading their space.
And if they say, "Could you please not take any photos of us?" You'd be like, "You know what? I am so sorry. It's just you guys are so beautiful and magnificent. I'm sorry." And I would go forward to being like, would you like me to delete the photos I've taken? Would you like to see the photos? And would you like me to delete them?
Absolutely.
If it's a film camera, just be like, look, I'm so sorry, because I love film camera. I love film photography. I'm like, I'm so sorry. It's a film camera. You know, I can't delete it. If you'd like me to send you it, like, give me an address I can send it to. I'd love to send you a copy. But, you know, that's all it needs to be. Or just like, I'm so sorry. When I develop it, I'll delete it forever. Whatever. But no, it was super violent. So, you know, just all of those kind of attacks are one thing. So that's a solo version. And, you know, when you work in nightclubs, especially, you work as a team, right? Or you should. You shouldn't be a solo person. So Kingston is another example, and then I'll shut up, because I just find this funny. How, you know, on average, we try not to wear our uniform as we leave. Sometimes we do, right? It's just we're just tired. We don't want to bring another bag. Like, it's the end of the night. We just want to like get home, take our stuff off, and go to bed. So a lot of us in that area, especially at Prism, there's is it a 56 bus? No, it's the N44. The N44 bus goes all the way up to Wandsworth, because that's where I needed to go. And a handful of us live on that route as well. So, you know, if we talk to each other as we leave, because we leave the nightclub together. Because again, if we leave one by one from the nightclub, you will get picked off.
Absolutely.
Right? So we always leave together. No exceptions unless you need to go. Otherwise, like, wait for everybody and we will go together. Because there's the car park, so people go to their car. We will make sure everyone gets into their car. Once everyone's got into their car, we go to the bus stop, whoever's left. Very, very important. So yeah, I think about 7 of us get onto this bus, and we just get to the back. And, you know, there's a lot of revelers from the nightclubs in the various areas in Kingston, upon Thames, who come onto the bus as well. Some of them recognize us, some of them don't. That's fine. They're like, oh, you kicked us out. I'm like, yeah, are you sober now? They're like, oh yeah, thanks. I'm like, cool, okay, have a good night. Usually they're fine. There's one time we're sat at the back just laughing, you know, chilling, whatever. And then a fight breaks out in the front of the top of the double-decker. And we're all just looking at each other. And like one of us is like, code red in the front of the bus. And we all start laughing. And you know, like 3 of us go to the front. And then like the rest of us are just like, I think 2 are sat. 2 of us are like half sat, half stood up and whatever. And like the first 3 just go to deal with it. And they try fighting, and then the rest of us stand up, and we're just down the vomitory of the upper decker bus, and these guys realize like, oh, there's a nightclub's worth of door supervisors in the bus, and they're like, like, just behave, just on the bus. We don't want this bus to stop. You don't want this bus to stop. We all want to go home.
We all want to go
And if you
home.
don't behave, we're kicking you off the bus. Oh, you can't do that. It's like, and we all literally just like tilt our head. We're just kind of like, really? And they calm down immediately. Like all the people just like, shh, just calm down. They'll really kick you out and stuff. So so you never really switch off because, you know, there's, it's just sometimes just saying stuff or just telling people like, hey, look, it's not necessary. It usually calms them down.
Absolutely. Honestly, I love that. Do you have you when you were working? Because I'd like to go on to what you're doing now. It's just amazing. When you were working, were there ever times that you needed support when you're working? Something might have happened. I'm just looking at, I want to understand welfare within the private security industry and what security officers' experience of welfare is. Do you feel that your welfare was taken care of?
I think I also forgot to mention the Olympics because I was a manager at the Olympics, so we'll talk about that in a second. It was casually, 2012. I think from the, you know, kind of receiving / kind of like, I don't want to say lower level, but like, you know, that is what it is, lower level of security. I think the Kingston upon Thames team definitely spoiled me in experiencing camaraderie, whereby the corporate vertical wasn't really needed. And what I mean by the corporate vertical, because I'm pretty sure that's an alien concept for some folks, is you know, the hierarchy of escalation in a corporate setting. So if you're an employee and your manager is not behaving like, you know, HR and all that kind of jazz is required. And oftentimes in those spaces or in bigger conglomerates of security, like, I don't know, G4 and stuff like that, there will be a kind of detachment from an employee, from a steward, from a static security guard on a field in the middle of nowhere, and the HR department, because that HR person is someone you telephone or you email, you know, and then maybe if you're lucky, there will be a field visit at some point. The problem with the field visit with an HR person is that your manager and your manager's manager are there as well. So you don't feel safe to actually express your grievances. And maybe the HR person is the wife of the manager that you don't like. You know, so that's something that once upon a time, I don't know if it's like that now, but that was always like a kind of observation I saw, that people never felt comfortable to do that. All of that said, the space that I was in, you know, our HR person was also the CCTV person in the nightclub. And she was literally the mother. She was the mother, right? And the grievances weren't really to do with like our supervisor, because we only had 2. And then there was like 3 other people like below him who were like kind of like just people who've been around for a long time. And in that space, because our head guy was ex-special forces, basically you would sit and you would talk to each other, and you'd iron it out before the shift was over at the end of the night when we're doing debrief. So sometimes arguments got ugly. Sometimes people just be effing and blinding and cussing each other out, and he's like, all right, have you got it out of your system? So what's the solution? Like literally, I'm like, okay, this is crazy, but you know, by the end of it, everyone was cool with each other.
Because you had that support, didn't you? I mean, that's the thing, is knowing that should you find yourself in a tight corner, should you deal with something that is really difficult and is emotionally draining, that you have the support and you feel safe enough, psychologically safe enough, to say to that person, I need your help, or this has happened. Because that's the whole point, isn't it? Whatever leadership it is, whether you're a supervisor, whether you're a manager, whether you're a CEO, if you've got that approach, that you can approach me because I have your back, because I care about my teams and your welfare, then, you know, it doesn't need to escalate anywhere, because you feel safe and you might have your disagreements and there might be a bit of swearing, but ultimately, should something, hit the fan, that you will get a fair hearing and the person in charge is going to support you.
100%. And I think I am very aggressively aware that I respond better to point blank. The words escaping me at the moment, but it's like just say what's wrong. Just say it as it is, and I will say it as it is, and we will shout at each other, and then we will have a resolution. I don't need, as per my last email, I'm just like, no. You said something stupid, and it really affected me, and we need to figure it out.
We need, that's right.
Some people aren't like that.
There is an elephant in the room, and we're not going to ignore it.
It's huge. Can we please just address the elephant and get rid of it? It shouldn't be up here. We're on the 12th floor in Nairobi.
Absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh my gosh. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the Olympics because I really want to know about what you're doing now. But
yes.
Tell me a little bit about the Olympics.
Yeah. So the Olympics was kind of like the for me, it felt like the pinnacle of like what I would ever do in like the security space, because it came from, I think a tender was won by the security team that I worked for at Wembley Stadium, because by that time I was a quadrant supervisor on level 5, so this is like 2010. And I'd been a quadrant supervisor for a long time, and this is the point where, like, I'd be at level 5 and I'd dip down to level 2 to help VIP people or whatever, and then again, talking, they're like, "Oh, you're so well spoken." I'm like, "Yes, thank you," and they take advantage of that apparently. It's either that or my Welsh like other manager guy who he hated going down to level 2. He's like, "Do you want to go down?" I'm like, the food's better, so I'd go down. But we got headhunted. We won the tender for the 2012 Olympics, and I was the AM, so the morning manager for Stratford Gate. So it's like the main entrance of the park, basically. So it's Stratford. There's the mall, Westfield Mall. All right, I'm doing this because there was a semicircle entrance. It's the last mile before you enter the park. Yeah. So I wasn't in charge of that part, but I was in charge of like this gray area where we hand over between two different companies. Okay, cool. And then our company was like the airport style entry galleries, of which I think we had about 200 of them or something. Yeah. And all the MOD personnel were there. And I can honestly say, being able to tell a Green Beret man to wind his effing neck in is probably the highest power trip I have ever, like the biggest high I've ever had. Just like telling this person who has murdered people, right, to wind his neck in and for him to be like, "Yes, mom, sorry, mom." And I was like, but yeah, so being a manager there was pretty intimidating, I'll be honest with you. But like there was a team of 8 of us. So there's like civilian, me, low cog, like direct low cog people, including the volunteers, and then MOD. And MOD was everything, like, Air Force, Navy, military, plus change. Yeah. The ones that we don't talk about, but they were there too. So we all know it. We're just not going to say it. So doing that was pretty insane because, it's 4 years until the next Olympic happens, games happen. But it's 4 years of work, and then all the test games happen about 18 months plus beforehand, to make sure the venues work, to make sure, the athletes, get qualified for everything. So I was a bit of a civilian in regards to all of us had to meet at Canary Wharf. I would never work there. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's horrendous. No. Just suits and buildings. Suits and buildings. That's all it is. And all of us hated it. We're just like, we don't want to be here for as long as like we need to be here. But we needed to do that to manage crowds. So that was like my kind of an interesting crossover between the security work, yes, but the engineering brain that I have
Yeah.
people are just like, oh, your spatial awareness is good. And I'm like, I'm an engineer. It might be sound, but still an engineer. So a lot of time was spent like moving the bollards around in that area. So Stratford Gate, there was a lot of things that had to be moved to manage the crowd, because we were moving 250,000 people a day through that area. So we had to make sure there's no pinch points, and even when we had to egress, ingress, all of that jazz. So the experience of the Olympics was intense. Like it was long hour days, like anywhere from 16 to maybe even 20-hour days. And I would cycle to my friend's house, because I stayed on my friend's sofa. I didn't even go back home to Wandsworth. I just stayed in. Where was I? Stratford. So I think I stayed in Black Horse Lane, which wasn't that far away from the Stratford area. So I'd cycle there, and I'd cycle in the morning. So no public transport, nothing like that, just a bicycle, because it was madness otherwise. And being the welfare person, as well as the boss, as well as, the manager of supervisors. So I couldn't be everywhere at once. So I think I had 12 of my own supervisors, and then an additional, I think 16 other supervisors from the MOD guys and the volunteer guys and stuff as well. So they would have to report to me. So I would have to encourage healthy communication from them to me. Because volunteers, I'm a nice person. People like to talk to me, So I would get volunteers talking to me about things that the supervisors should be covering. And I'm like, when was the last time you saw your supervisor? Like, I don't even know who my supervisor is. And I'm like, well, that's not okay, So I'd have to go, and I'd take the supervisor, and like, look, I need you to go do a welfare check on everybody. They're like, that's going to take a long time. I'm like, what else are you doing? Oh, I need to do the water run. I'm doing the water run. Go do a welfare check on everybody, and I want you to ask them how they are, ask them their name, and tell them your name. So these were soft skills that I just was like,
which is great, because you're supporting the supervisor in understanding that also when they raise the point, what about this? They're psychologically safe to say to you, I'm concerned about that, and you say, I've got it covered. And that's the most important thing. It's supporting people, but also they feel safe enough to say, oh, I'm concerned about this, and then you deal with it, don't you?
100%. And I've always been that type of person. Like, even I teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu now. We'll get onto that in a second. But everywhere I am, if someone's worried about something and I know I've got time to do it, and I know it's not going to take a long time, I'll be like, okay, well, if your priority of needs dictates you need to go do XYZ, go do it. Like doing a water run, I can do it. That's the whole point. So Olympics was really good. Really good.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So I would like to know, where are you now?
Yes.
Where are you right now, Shiggi?
I am in Kenya. I'm in Nairobi. I'm in my little apartment on the 12th floor in the heart of Nairobi. And I moved back home, so I am Kenyan. I didn't even do an introduction of who I am. Hi, my name's Shiggi. I'm Kenyan and Dutch. I was born and raised in Kenya, and I lived in the UK for 23 years, and now I'm back home. So I came back to Kenya in 2024, end of 2024, just because after COVID, lockdown and all of that jazz, I was just like, I've done everything. I've done all the side quests, and the main quests in the UK aren't really my focus. Like, it's not what I really want to do. And a lot of soul searching, I realized, like, let me just go home. Let me try home. Like, I don't have to stay here either, but let me try home. So, with everything that I've been saying, like, remember, I studied to be a sound engineer, so I am a sound engineer, and my skill set actually blossomed in, I think, 2018. I was doing another job. Gosh, people are going to think I'm a sociopath or something. I was working in a startup with a friend, doing adventures from the UK to Italy. Yeah, very random. I'm sorry. Taking people.
To apologize.
People are going to be like, wait, where did that come from? Like, hobbies. I have a lot. I have an unhealthy amount of hobbies, and sometimes they turn into businesses. Okay. So outdoor adventure business decided to just happen, and we were taking people from the UK to the Dolomites, so the Italian Alps, to do hiking, mountaineering, rock climbing. That's where it came from. I do rock climbing, via ferrata, whatever, just all of those things. And that kind of died a death because of business differences being too far apart. And another friend of mine had these audio files, and he's like, I need these to be turned into an audiobook. And this was in one of the mastermind online groups I'm in. And I was just like, bro, give me these files. What are these things? What is this? He's like, yeah, okay, here, just I need it to be that. And he was pointing at like Audible and Amazon. And I was like, okay. And I did it. It took me 2 weeks to do. And I'm like, this is the easiest thing I've ever done. This is a thing? And he's like, do you want to make it a business? You hate your other startup. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I did. And that was 2018. And now I do that now in 2026.
I know. Yeah. It's mad, isn't it? And that's how we met, wasn't it?
It is. So I think just do you want to share the little
we could do it later. Carry on with
I mean it's part of the story, but so 2018, I did my first audiobook, and as time's gone by, helping people out with podcasts and stuff, like, again, being a sound engineer, I'm just like, this is very easy for me. And this is the part I've been taking time to realize, like, just because something is easy for you doesn't make it easy for someone else. And that's where you can help somebody. And my whole thing, again, is like acts of service. As much as I like being paid for things, like if someone can't afford what I'm doing, I'm just going to be like, well, here's the information. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. And I need to make it as simple as possible, because I really don't want you to not do this just because you felt overwhelmed. So here's the simplest line of activation, and it's clearly worked. 2 more minutes. So lockdown for me was that pinnacle moment of like, okay, this job, I don't need to be anywhere specific for it. Yeah. I just have a laptop. I'm holding a USB microphone, and it sounds great. And I can be anywhere in the world. And like, I was in my bedroom, I was in my living room at the time with my cat on my chest, and I was like, I could replicate this anywhere. So let me just try replicating at home. So from 2020 to 2024, I did a lot of just all the seeding work for the eventual kind of like departure. And now I'm here, and the business is still people from America, from Australia, from Europe, from wherever, mainly. And that's what keeps the lights on. And now I teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, right?
Yeah,
and this is the next important thing. So all of this is going to be brought together because of the story of how I started Jiu Jitsu. I am now 8 years into Jiu Jitsu, 10 years into rock climbing, and Jiu Jitsu happened because of security work. Wow. So in 2015, I was working in prison in Kingston upon Thames, part of the snatch team, and my door husband at the time was not there at work. And when I say door husband, people, if you work in the industry, you'll understand, you'll have like people that you enjoy working with, or people that you work really well with. Like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it just works, right? And when you have teams like that, like, if you've got a good manager or something, if the night is going to be difficult, you will always like pair people up or have people in their strong positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense.
Right? To make sure a night goes easily. But this night, unfortunately, my door husband wasn't in, but a new person was given to me because we were expecting it to be, famous last words, a quiet night.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
Never say those words, right? But it was said, it'll be a quiet night here, go with him.
Yeah.
I thought nothing of it. I was like, okay, fair enough. It was meant to be a quiet night. It was not a quiet night. All hell broke loose in the cheese room. We had a... we all know, I think we changed the names of them, but at the time it was called the cheese room. It's where all like the disco and the old songs are and stuff. Got the R&B room, the main room, and the cheese room. And the VIP whatever balcony, and there was a code red in there, so we were specifically asked to go because it was women fighting. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we try and instigate, like if there's women fighting, we try to have like a woman kind of lead the entry into kind of breaking up a fight.
Yeah.
So I go in, I'm like, okay, cool, it's women. We go on from the reverse side, and we got the static lady, kind of saying over here. So we go over there, and it's just literally like 8v8. It's like
wow.
two
Gosh.
rugby teams against each other. Not rugby teams. That was the code black that happened.
Yeah.
But it's still like a full scrummage kind of happening. And I go in assuming the other person, because he's on a snatch team, is going to come with me, right? Okay. I go to the primary. I assume he's going to the secondary, because if you don't have someone holding the secondary, guess what happens? You get like hit in the back of the head.
Yeah.
So I'm being scratched on the back of my head as I'm holding the primary. Thankfully, the women don't know how to throw punches, and I had a shaved head at the time. And I'm turning around, and I'm seeing this woman literally just like slapping me very badly. And I'm like looking at the back. I'm like, what are you doing over there?
Oh my gosh.
Bro. And I have my radio, and it's like, Mo, like get over here. Like what are you doing, kind of thing. And I'm doing this because I want the CCTV guys to also understand. And I also want the head door guy to hear and be like, what is going on? Yeah. Because he's downstairs, right? He's not up here because he's static at the front. Yeah. And he basically comes in, and he's just like, not on the radio. He just tells me, he's just like, oh, they're women. I don't get involved with women. And I'm like, we have this one rule when we work together: if anyone swings, you treat them like a man.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Literally.
No one should be laying their hands on anyone.
No one. Women on women, women on men, absolutely. Men on men, men on women, and or others.
Acceptable.
Zero.
Yeah.
Bodies on bodies. So, and then he pulls my radio off of me, and he starts talking on my radio. So now I'm dead in the water, and somehow I'm turning around like swearing at him, and adrenaline's over 9,000. And then we fall to the floor, and I'm lying on the floor and still restraining the primary, by the way. I haven't let go of her. But I realize, as I see all these like 90s style stiletto pumps,
that's really, really dangerous,
clopping around me, I'm like, I could be dead. Like, and any one of these women, if they knew what they were doing, they could take their heel out.
Absolutely, really dangerous.
In my ear hole, just in my skull, something.
Yeah.
And I somehow managed to lift this girl up, and then I just basically wrist lock her against herself to a wall. And then, like, eventually the other snatch teams come and they help me out and stuff. The guy got fired that night. They were just like, we're done. And at the end of the night, during debrief, I went up to my door head man. I'm just like, Alex, Alex, I was on the floor. He's like, yep. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. He's like, yep. And I'm like, I felt helpless. He's like, mm-hmm. I'm like, I never want to feel like that again. I hated that feeling. I'm a very capable martial artist. What the F was that? And he just looked at me and said Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And I'm like, okay. So literally, like that was, 2020. Yeah, so 2016 is when he said it. I tried it once, got injured. Decided like it was not for me. But then in 2018, I was training a client as a personal trainer in a martial arts gym, and the owner of that gym kept on looking at me, and he saw me looking at the classes, being very interested, and he wore me down. It took him 6 months, but eventually he wore me down to start jiu-jitsu, and that was 8 years ago.
8 years ago, wow, that's just amazing. And what do you, with that skill, what are you doing at home now?
Yes, so with the starting jiu-jitsu, I told myself I had to do 100 classes before I was allowed to stop, because I felt like 100 classes would be enough to feel slightly just more capable on the ground, because that's all I wanted. I didn't really care for the art itself. It's far too intimate and greasy and sweaty, at the time. I'm on class 567 or something like that at the moment. But at the time I said do 100 and then I can quit. Like, I'm not allowed to quit until I do 100 classes. By class 47, I was like, I need to bring this home to Kenya. I don't think there's jiu-jitsu in Kenya. And by that time I told my professor, I'm like, look, I need to keep on going until I'm a purple belt. I said to myself, like, when I'm a purple belt, I will go back home and start this, because I thought purple belt would take me forever, because it takes at least 10 years to get your black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can't be a child as a black belt, right? It took me 4 years to get my purple belt.
Wow.
and that was a shock. I was like, I'm not ready, but I guess I have to go, because I said when I'm a purple belt, I'm going to go back home. So I'm a purple belt still, but it's like 4 years and six months it took for me to get my purple belt.
Wow.
And then I'm like, oh crap, that means like I could potentially be a black belt in like 9 years. And I'm like, no, let's slow this down. I'm going to go home and hide from all of you guys. You're not allowed to promote me. And that's what I'm doing right now. But yeah, class 47, I was like, I need to bring it home. And then that's when I went online to try and see if there was any jiu-jitsu at all in Kenya.
Right.
I found this place called One Tribe, and I found the guy called Tete. I found him on Instagram. I sent a message going, hey, you do jiu-jitsu. I like jiu-jitsu. I'm Kenyan and I want to bring it home. And we just started talking from then.
Oh, how amazing. Yeah.
And now I train there. I train at One Tribe. A new gym has popped up, Nairobi Jiu-Jitsu Academy. And that's where I teach women self-defense classes.
Which is awesome.
It's self-defense is really interesting because a lot of people are teaching it, especially from the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu world.
Right.
And I have a slight issue with it because no one martial art is a solely superior art for self-defense.
Right.
Because, striking is important, yes, but defending against striking is important. Ground game is insanely important. So, yes, jiu-jitsu. But spatial awareness, verbal judo, understanding psychological dynamics of, if you're in the workplace and someone's your manager and they're trying to do weird things to you, like, understand that you're going to have that weird subservience. Yeah. And you need to break out of that.
So it's multi-dimensional.
Hugely. And then it's like kids, kids versus a huge 6'8" person. Like, there's not even jiu-jitsu can help with that run.
You go into schools as well, don't you?
Yes. So I teach at schools.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing now is like, my whole plan is to build a community dojo somewhere that supports the local community, but also brings in all my friends from Europe, from America, from Australia, from Brazil, to come and do retreats, because that's how the money is going to be generated. But also to teach girls. So for me, girls between the ages of 12 and 18 are the most vulnerable and most likely to be robbed of a good life. Like, this is my thing at the moment that I keep on saying, because pregnancies, being sold off into child marriage, being sold off into education, but then being robbed of an education because the school principal just decides, no, you're going to be my wife instead. All sorts of horrible things happen here. So what that space will do is afford scholarships, half and full-time scholarships to those girls for 5 years.
Fantastic. So I was going to say, so I rudely interrupted you. You was talking about the fact that not one particular discipline would be enough. So are you looking at it holistically and nothing's off the table, and drawing from different disciplines to create this holistic way of self-defense? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. So what I'm doing now, like for a short moment, I did kind of do the kind of like Gracie self-defense kind of system, but with my background and working, especially with the team in Kingston upon Thames, right? We actually did a lot of out of work training together. Because the head doorman has a lot of, one, ex-special forces, right? So over 40 years of martial arts experience, live training, all the different martial arts he does. He is synthesized or synergized everything, as well as using different training systems. So there's dynamics training that they do in the UK, I believe, for like hospitals and stuff. So on how to like restrain people safely, right? But also how to defend yourself, because hospital staff probably are the highest abused members in service. Right. So that's staff in paramedics in ambulances, and then staff in hospitals, especially, So he's kind of worked in that space a lot. And for us, we kind of did that plus change. So there's like functional edge, close quarter combat, all of those things. So talking to him, we have a very candid kind of like conversation. I will just ask questions about, what about this? What about that? What about that? So he's taught me how to synergize my experiences, but also to go out and ask other people, what are the main forms of attack that happen? You
Yes.
know, over here, like,
What's happening in the real world? Because that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, yeah,
yeah, like no one's gonna come over and all of a sudden do a big haymaker, hook
yeah.
to hit you.
Unless,
They're
of
gonna
course, you're
like,
on top of a bus.
apparently so. And even then, like you're not gonna do the like, oh no, I'm gonna protect myself. No, like that reaction that I
Yeah, yeah.
had actually came from Kapap, which is a Krav Maga kind of hybrid. In addition to Functional Edge, which is a reaction-based self-protection system
Wow.
that we got trained in.
Amazing.
So, if you get spooked, either
Yeah.
you'll compress
Yeah.
or you'll expand, right?
Okay.
I'm a hybrid apparently because I'm left-handed. So he created stress systems based on our reaction style.
Wow.
So now I instinctively, if someone does anything, I'm just immediately like that.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. And then
Yeah.
this hand will always just open to try and just like grab something, like slap you on the face, do something. Yeah, because I'm left-handed. I literally, someone did that. I was in a nightclub as a punter. I
Yeah.
think someone just was like trying to like get up all in my face or something, trying to be kind of aggressive, like, oh, you do jiu-jitsu, show me something.
Yeah, yeah.
And I literally just like, he came towards me, I just put my elbow up like straight into his sternum. It's like, ow, that hurt. And then I just slapped him on the face.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
He's like, what'd you do that for? I'm just like, you came towards me. He's like, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't mean it.
Invaded
I'm
my
like,
space. Yeah.
didn't mean it. So that's what I do. I teach that, and I've actually teamed up with a couple of other people with a team called She Defense. So there's my little prodigy, who I started on her jiu-jitsu journey 2.5 years ago. She's now a blue belt.
Oh.
She started this company, actually,
Oh my God.
whilst I was away. So I've come back and I've said, like, look, I will support you. I am not taking anything from the limelight. If we want to create a curriculum, I will help create a curriculum. Whatever you need, I'm supporting you, right? Because my thing is, I just want to build a house, build a dojo, build a guest house, and
Yeah.
people come to that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be a brand new anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 40. All I want to do is crochet and like teach. Like, that's it.
You certainly don't look it. Oh my gosh.
I
Crochet
don't-
and teach. I love that. I just want to crochet and teach. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
Awesome. But
So that's
it's
what I'm
not
doing.
it's not just teaching. What you're doing is you're using your skills, understandings to empower other people to help themselves and to protect themselves. And
Yeah.
that is incredibly worthy. So I'm
Thank you.
really, really grateful that you're out there doing that.
You'll be over here one day, like, and anyone who's watching this as well, like, just like, it's going to happen. Literally, it's in the next 5 years, maybe less. It'll happen. There'll be a place. There'll be like this little farmland. They'll be like, yeah, there's this lady called Shiggi. She has 3 alpacas and a community dojo. Do you know where she's at?
It's fun. I have no doubt whatsoever. But the journey doesn't start in that 5 years. The journey has been going all the way along, and every single day is your journey, and every single day someone is benefiting from that and learning from that, and that really is part of life, isn't it? You've got this long-term thing that would be more solid in that particular way, but all the way along you're making a difference, and that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, and there's regular. I mean, Kenya's not an easy country. Like, I just want people to understand. Like, you can have an easy life here if you want, but it is not an easy country by any way, shape, or form. And I hate to throw this in at the last second, but even where I live, right here, my front door is just there. A month and a half ago, there was a domestic violence situation happening in the Airbnb apartment next door. And that lady banged on my door at 4 o'clock in the morning. All right. And, I was prepared to do whatever was needed to help that lady. I have kitchen knives. you can put two and two together. Right.
Yeah.
But, that happened literally at my front door, and it was a test, a willful test of like, you came back to this country to help with this situation. Here's your test. And I opened the door and I helped the lady and everything, and it turned out not to quite be what it was being yeah, it wasn't as bad
Yeah, yeah.
the lady was
As
making
it
it
could
out
have
to be,
been. Which,
as it could have been.
yeah,
Which trying to take a body down from the 12th floor would have been difficult, but
yeah.
so all of that aside is a bit dark. Yeah,
But it's
every day I'm
reality.
reminded it's
Yeah,
reality for
yeah,
sure,
it is reality.
but I'm
And
just reminded
somewhere
every
around the
day.
corner, that's actually, it might not have been as serious at that particular point, but literally every single day, the most horrendous things are happening. And it's, it's society and humanity
Mm,
is the only way that that's going to change. So you being part of that is making a difference. And,
yeah.
and that's all we can do. And oh my gosh, you are amazing. uh, is there anything that you would like the public to know about the private security industry? Because
Um,
I'm hoping that these sessions will just bring a light on the diversity and just really what this job is all about. But is there anything that you would have wanted the public to understand or know? Don't worry if there isn't, but
I mean, I'd more be for like people in the industry. I mean, the public are gonna think what the public are gonna think, unfortunately. And I would like the public to think like people who work in this sector are humans too. Just remember, we are humans.
amazing humans.
Very much so. And
Yeah,
sometimes we will have to like do things that we don't even agree with, but because you're in a private space, like a lot of
yeah,
people forget that. Even
yeah,
if it's a public space, it's a private event. Whatever's
yeah,
going on,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
um dynamic angles to everything.
yeah,
And if we come towards you and we're like, please, excuse me, whew, please stop filming or
yeah,
whatever, we don't care,
yeah,
in all honesty, but we have a job we're doing, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
And on the flip side, like what I actually want to say is like more to people within the industry is like to remember your humanity
yeah,
in the grand scheme of things. Like if you don't have support, and you were talking about welfare and stuff,
yeah, yeah,
I'd like to think it's better now than what it
yeah,
was in the early 2000s
yeah,
and before.
yeah,
But if someone above you is treating you badly,
yeah,
report it, even if
yeah,
you're reporting to the person's spouse. Like, I
yeah,
know it's
yeah,
weird, but you need to do a
yeah,
paper trail. Take screenshots of whatever's going on. If a
yeah,
phone call happens, follow it up with an email. Like, make a paper trail for yourself
yeah,
if you need to. But don't let those experiences sour who you are as a person.
yeah,
You're in the industry for a reason. If you
yeah,
enjoy the work,
yeah.
it's such a huge industry. Like,
Oh,
between
it's
Amanda
massive.
and me,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
progressed through the front line of things, and
yeah,
Amanda's progressed through like the kind of
yeah,
back line of things.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
There's
absolutely.
options for everybody. Even if you
It's
feel like,
huge. The industry is massive.
if you're
Yeah,
sitting in a field at a festival, right? That's not all security is. You could be
no,
sitting in a field on a film set.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
those are cool.
yeah,
You could be sitting in a building. You could be not doing frontline work because you're good at doing phone work. You're good at talking to people on the phone. So
yeah,
maybe you do stuff with the radio. Maybe you become a CCTV operative. I'm a CCTV operative. I've got
yeah.
all the licenses just because I
Yeah,
felt
there
like
are
it.
so many jobs in physical security. This podcast is shining a light on security officers and celebrating them. Within the security industry, there are so many branches of security. We're
Hugely.
particularly talking about physical security, and within physical security, there are so many jobs that are incredibly important.
And they'll get
Yeah,
you all over the place. Like, you don't
yeah,
just because of where you are, don't think that's where you have to stay.
absolutely. Progression,
Yeah.
etc. Um, I could talk to you for a lot longer, but
Good.
I'm
Hey,
conscious of
season
the
two.
fact that, yeah, 100% season two will, but yeah, I'm hoping so. But thank you so much for your time, for everything that you did when you were a security officer, and but everything that you're doing now. It's just wonderful to hear a little bit about your story and the positive things that you have brought to this world and to your community.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And I'm just gonna just put this in there. If anyone wants to reach out about anything, or if you have
Yeah,
questions, I'm
I'm
online
going to put your
chronically.
details. I'm going to put your details,
Perfect.
and everything that you're, anything that you're trying to, any links
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Just
They're going to be there.
shiggy.com.
Yeah,
Literally
shiggy.com does.
JUSTSHIGGI.com. Everything's there. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Just come find me and have a chat.
Fantastic. That's going to be there. Thank you so much. You take care. Speak to
You
you
too.
later. Thank you.
Bye.